Good morning, and it's competition time results. It's Monday morning, the 21st of November. So a little while ago I ran a competition just to see how many people in the group actually know me and how well do they know me. And I called it the competition, How Well Do You Know Me, believe it or not. So there was 10 questions and they were all true except for one. And did you know which one was false? I'll just read out the questions now. It's funny, we had 10 questions and we had 10 winners. So that is perfect. And I'm going to draw the winners out of a hat in a minute, and one lucky person will be getting one of my books sent straight to your door this week. So here's the 10 questions. Number one was, I worked as a full-time instructor, a karate instructor. That was true. I did. Many years ago when I lived in the UK, I got my black belt, and I think it was around 86, the year 86, and I was asked by the club from the chief instructor if I would help out teaching. And I started teaching once or twice a week, and then it turned into a full-time job in the Summer Karate Club in Brighton, which is one of the biggest franchise of karate schools in southern England now. And I worked there for about 5 years as a full-time instructor, including having my own club in New Haven, not far by. So yeah, I was a full-time karate instructor, so that one was true. Question number two, I spoke to the Queen of the United Kingdom. That was true as well. I did. Many years ago, my dad had a boat in Brighton Marina where we lived, and I was one day down there and I knew the Queen was coming to open up. I think I was about 15 years old, and I pushed my way to the front of a crowd to see what was going on. And as I got to the very front of the crowd, right by the barrier, there was the Queen, right literally 2 foot in front of me. I was a bit surprised. She was a bit surprised. She just looked at me and said, "Hello," and I said, "Hello." So yeah, I did speak to the Queen of England, brief as it was, but it's true, I did speak to the Queen of England. Question number three, been interviewed live on the BBC News. Okay, so most of you know, if you've been following me, you know that I was interviewed here at the beginning of the COVID lockdown here in my home in Spain. It was half finished, and you can see the video of this interview live on the BBC News. I think it was about a 15-minute interview, and it was on the 9 o'clock news, I believe. It's on my YouTube channel. You can go and check that out now, the YouTube channel. You'll see the interview on the BBC. So that one was true. Number four, worked with British Secret Service in Brighton. Believe it or not, that is true. A little bit of a story, but I'll keep it short here. Many years ago, I worked on Brighton Pier. I was a maintenance foreman running a gang of 12 or 14 guys on the end of the pier. We had a workshop there, which was underneath the pier, believe it or not. And when I think it was Tony Blair was the Prime Minister, newly Prime Minister, they wanted to do a photo shoot of him and some of his followers doing having fish and chips in one of the bars on the pier. And one day I got a call from my boss to come and meet some people, and I went to meet them. It was all very secretive, and there was 3 guys in very smart dark suits, and they said they wanted to have a look underneath the pier. And as I was the foreman, I was going to be taking them down, so I took them to where the hatch was. We climbed underneath the pier, and they said we need to get underneath the restaurant and have a look around underneath the restaurant. And so I said, okay, follow me. And they were dressed in suits, and they said, no, hang on a minute, we need to go and get some gear, we'll come back tomorrow. So the next day they came back, and they were dressed in all the gear, all the climbing gear and hard hat and gloves and track suits and stuff, and they had quite a few bags of equipment with them as well. And I said to them, what is it you're doing? And he said, we can't tell you, we're not allowed to tell you, but we need to get right underneath the restaurant and we need to have a look around. So I showed them along, we walked along the girders, we had a little look around, and they said, you need to leave us here now, we can't show you the equipment we're using. So I walked back upstairs and shut the hatch down, and about a couple of hours later they emerged, this team of guys. And they said, okay, we're all done, thank you very much. And I said to them, oh, you found my mate Mick's fishing tackle box, did you? And they looked at me with surprise and said, what tackle box? We have to go back, we have to find it. And one of my mates who used to work for the maintenance used to go fishing and leave the little tackle box underneath there, stuck underneath the girders. So back they went and spent another hour. Finally they found it and said, yeah, it's okay, it's all done. Seal the hatch down and screw it down with at least 6 or 8 screws so that it's very difficult to get up. So I did that, went back to my workshop, and I signed out my ticket for the morning, and I put down on it, helping Secret Service agents search for bombs. And later that afternoon, my boss came down and said, what's this? You can't put that. You're not allowed to tell people who they were. So I said, it was true then. I did it as a bit of a joke. I said, it was true then. He said, I can't say, but you can't put that down. Just say that you were painting this morning. morning, and I'll sign it off. So that was my little expedition with the Secret Service. If you think there's somebody else, then please let me know, but I'm putting it down as the Secret Service. And now we go on to number 5. Jumped out of a perfectly good aeroplane at 13,000 feet. Many years ago, I went to Arizona to see one of my friends that had moved out there to work for American Express Company, and we were both into skydiving and things like that. We've done a lot of crazy things together, shooting clubs and things. And Gary lived in Arizona, and he said there's the biggest parachute jumping club in the world in Arizona. Would you like to go? And I said yes. And we went to this, I can't remember what it's called now, to be honest, it was so long ago, but we went to this club. And we got in a plane with about 6 other people, and I did a free fall parachute jump from 13,000 feet. Normally at 10,000 you have to have oxygen, but it was a very fast climb. The plane had no door on the side, and it was a tandem jump. We jumped out at 13,000 feet, and it was one of the most incredible experiences of my life. So yeah, number 5, jumped out of a perfect good aeroplane, 13,000 feet. You can see my videos on that again on my YouTube channel. Moving on to number 6, shot in the leg. Okay, so yeah, I was, many years ago, I used to go, my sister was married a gamekeeper in Sussex for Lord and Lady Cowdrey down in Midhurst. And Andy, the gamekeeper, used to invite me to pheasant shoots once a year. It was 2 or 3 days a year in the winter months. And one day we was out shooting with shotguns, going through the forest, and there was some people behind us shooting, and they didn't know we were there, and they fired at some pheasants, and they're quite a way away, but the shot hit me in the back of the leg and the backside, and it was like a hot sting on the back of my leg. It didn't break the skin, but it left me with a bruise. So yeah, I was shot it was in the backside really, but I like to say leg. That was number 6, and that's true. Number 7, climbed the highest mountain in Spain. Again, that's true. When I first moved to Spain about 20 years ago, I was in a rock climbing club, and one day after going through the test of rock climbing, passing my first exam, they said to me, would you like to join a team of us? We're going to climb Mulhacén. Mulhacén is the highest mountain in mainland Spain, and it's set in Granada. There's an easy route up the back, which you can do in about a day, I think, a pathway going up the back of it. And we did the front side, which is a 2-day trek, and we were trekking for half a day in the snow when we reached the summit. Got some fantastic pictures. Again, that's on my Facebook page, I think. You can find that on my Facebook page. So yeah, 2 days climbing, and I got some pictures of me at the top of the mountain, Mulhacén. I think it's 13,000 feet, the highest mountain in mainland Spain. I did a blog post about it as well, so you can read all about that on my blog. And number 8, I've written 5 books. Most people know that I've written 4 books on living and working in Spain, but I did write a book many years ago when I was a karate instructor. Somebody came in and asked me if I'd write a book for them on self-defense, and I did. It was my first book, and I wrote a draft for it, and they published it, and I got a cheque for €250 royalties. And then the guy done a runner, and never saw him, never heard of him again. The book is still available in Waterstones bookshops, and it's called The Straightforward Guide to Self-Defense by David Wright. So yeah, that's still available, but I'm not getting any royalties from it, so don't buy it. Okay, so that was that one. Where are we now? So we've got written 5 books. Number 8. Number 9. This is the false statement. I've been married twice, not 3 times. So the correct answer is number 9. I have been married twice, not 3 times. And number 10. Swam with sharks. Yes, again, I was in Tahiti several years ago, and we had a day trip booked, and we swam in I think it was about 6 meters of water snorkeling, and we were surrounded by a lot of sharks, and there's videos of that on my YouTube channel as well. You can see that, and these are proper sharks. These are proper big reef sharks, and they're up to around 3 meters long, crystal clear water. So yeah, I swam with sharks as well. So yeah, done quite a few interesting things, and now I've got a list of the winners. So the winner was the true, the false one. The false answer was number 9. That's the one you're looking for. So we've got, these are the people that are going to go into the hat. First in was Nikki Thomas, and then Jane Parsons, Robert Webber, Daryl Cook, Catherine Clark, Eric Bowles, Yvonne Carney Ross, Suzanne Hughs, Melissa Deal, and Jacqueline Morton. And I'm going to pick out one of the hat now. I've got these all in a piece of paper, screwed up in a hat. You have to trust me on this one. Right, what have we got here? Susan Hughs. Susan Hughs, you're the winner of the competition. Congratulations. I'll message you today so you can give me the address to send you one of my books. Thanks very much, everybody, and congratulations, Susan Hughs.